Larry Hagman's mother, J.R.'s mom. But anyway, the Broadway play lasted 4.5 years on Broadway. They won 7 Tony Awards. It wasn't until then that finally 20th Century Fox did get the rights to the movie. They made their own version. Well, they decided not to base their version on the original story like the Germans did. They based their version more or less on the Broadway play. Then they kind of a musical themselves. That's why this movie, The Sound of Music, is popular all over the world. It isn't very popular here. Those few Austrians, did they get a chance to see this movie? They've seen the German version. They know about all the liberties Hollywood took with their version. Hollywood never wanted to make a documentary-type film. Maria von Trapp got so mad at Hollywood at one point, she threatened on going to the newspapers and telling them what a terrible thing they were doing with their story. They ended up giving her $900,000 US, and she was quiet. And they took her suggestions. Let's face it, they came up with the greatest musical ever produced. Who doesn't love this movie? Gave us a job. Do you remember the Lonely Goatherd song, Maria and the Children Playing with the Puppets on Strings? Bill Baird, a famous puppeteer from California, made those puppets. They filmed right here in Salzburg at the Marionette Theatre on the left. Look in the window, see the pictures of puppets there? They're doing the Sound of Music puppet shows now. They advertised it yesterday.
Thanks for rejoining.
Today they're not advertising it. They do it in the evening sometimes. Did you have a chance to go there? There's rave reviews in New York City when they were there. Look to the left, that's Mozart's residence, the peach-colored building with the Austrian flag on it right there. That's not the original building. The original building was blown away by the Allies by mistake. A Japanese insurance company made most of the money to have rebuilt, and we think that's nice. Coming up from us to the right, you see the Cafe Bazaar. Drink a cup of coffee in there. You'll be awake at least 3 days. Now, the Turks ran over to Austria once we took over their coffee culture. Talk about strong. Now, you'll see the fortress. What we'll do, we'll drive by the fortress, and I promise you I'll tell you all about the fortress. Fortress is right there. Coming up on the hard right on this hill, you're going to see an ugly square white building. The building you see is the Museum of Modern Art. If you haven't been up there yet, you're missing probably the most wonderful view of the whole city of Salzburg. Elevator rides going up to it. Part of the Do Re Mi song was done there. What else is nice? Right here, the Hotel Stein. Walk inside like you own the place.
Ciao.
Get on the elevator and sit up on the roof. There's an outdoor cafe with big heaters and umbrellas up there. It's open to the public. It's open till 12 midnight. Imagine, sit up there at night time, look down, see the lit city of Salzburg,
Pleasure.
Drink some champagne with someone you really care about, and talk about your feelings. Now, I personally think the food's too expensive. What you can do, go and have this fantastic photograph, go back down. When you're up there, you're going to say, I'm so glad I did this. Don't miss the Hotel Stein. Notice the church on the hard right with the red roof, the green steeple. Connected onto the right side of that church is the city's largest beer hall, the Augustiner Brau. 2,000 beer drinkers inside. The best thing about the beer hall is there's a hospital next door. I'm going to give you directions how to get there. You're going to love that place. You get to see the Austrians there as well. It opens every day at 3, closes 11 o'clock at night. Look to the left, on top of the building. That's the Hotel Stein. That's where you be. Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz did a movie up there once called Night and Day.
Salzburg.
You can jump from one room to the next just like they did. Yeah. Notice the footbridge in front of us. It was featured in The Sound of Music. At our end, running the other direction, Maria and the children in their curtain clothes, singing the Do Re Mi song. That's the bridge running across right there. And look at those beautiful buildings over there. A great fire in 1818 destroyed almost everything there. Most of those buildings you're looking at, built better than that. The rich Austrians live there now first. Ferdinand, the bus driver, has a house there. He lives under the bridge. Running water. Do you remember the scene to the movie? The nuns were in the abbey, they were singing this song. How do you solve a problem like Maria? Okay, do you remember that? Do you remember all of a sudden the camera pans off to a mountain? We see Maria up on a mountain picking flowers.
Sorry.
Remember all of a sudden Maria heard the bells to the abbey? She knew she was late, so she grabbed all of her things as quickly as she could. She went running down this mountain for the abbey. She forgot her hat though, didn't she? She ran back and picked it up. Well, then she ran down this mountain for the abbey. She got to the abbey. She broke through the front gates, ran across the courtyard, stopped at a water pump, splashed water on her face, then went running off to the other side. Well, if you remember the whole time, the Reverend Mother and some of the nuns were watching Maria. All of a sudden, Maria saw the Reverend Mother and she stopped, dead in her tracks, or just about calmly off, as if nothing happened. Do you all remember that scene? There's a great big trivia question coming up in the next scene. First person to raise their hand and yell out the answer wins a free beer. soft drink or a water? Okay, think carefully now. All of a sudden, Maria gets caught into the river mother's office. Now she thinks she's been caught. So as soon as she gets in the door, she starts saying things kind of like this. Oh, I'm so sorry I was late. I'm so sorry. But I was on a mountain. It was my mountain. I was born there. It was such a beautiful day. I kept climbing higher and higher. No, I knew I wouldn't get lost. Please, can you forgive me? What do you think about my acting? Okay, that's not the question. Ladies and gentlemen, in that scene, Maria named that mountain. Does anyone here remember the name of that mountain? Last word is Berg. You can Google it. It starts with the letter U.
We're in the city of Salzburg.
What? On Dunsburg.
Hi, Margaret.
Oh, pretty close. Should we get that little bit of beer? That's awfully close. He's awfully sure.
You're on the Sound of Music tour. I'm having to speak very quietly.
He said, Dunsburg, call the Untersberg. Round of applause to that little guy over there. He knew it. I'm in the countryside. The bar is yours except for the beer. Okay, that's nice. Untersberg. Yes. Because you can't hear me back there. Let's see. I'll turn it up a little bit. Maybe you can hear me better with that. How's that? Okay. Now, we know you've heard of the energy drink company Red Bull. Did you realize the second richest sausage alive from Salzburg owns the company? You know what this man did? He went to Thailand once where they produced this drink, went a joint venture with the owner there. And all he did was add carbonation and market it all over the world. Go to the airport here in Salzburg. Across the runway of the adjacent street, you'll find a gigantic round glass hangar there called the Hangar 7. Walk in for free. You see all of his toys there. Formula One race cars, jets and airplanes. He's worth $10 billion US. He owns your hockey team. The hockey team won everything you win in hockey last year. Do you know why? Almost all their players are Canadian. They keep giving him Red Bull, and that's just not fair. He owns the football team too. We saw this man at his football games. He was sitting there with his girlfriend. This man is 67 years old. His girlfriend is 30. See, love happens no matter what your age.
Just joined us. You're on the Sound of Music tour.
And this tour will drive by his international headquarters. But he does a lot of really good things as far as cancer research is concerned, bone marrow transplants, whole Wings for Life. He does that too. And recently he bought a worthless range of mountains on the countryside.
To another part of Salzburg city.
Show you one of his many buildings he owns.
To the palace, the
Isn't Salzburg beautiful?
Crown Palace.
Salzburg is a small town. 150,000 people live in this city. In July and August, it'll explode to more than 2 million, thanks to the music festivals been happening here since 1920.
When the kids
Remember
fell into the river,
Max
when they
Detweiler
fell into the lake.
Well, he wasn't real, but they tried to equate his life with a man called Max Reinhardt, who started the music festivals here in 1920. Max Reinhardt was Jewish. 1938, he said, I'm out of here. He never came back, though. Look at that building with the red roof. That's one of Red Bull's buildings where he does cancer research called Wings for Life, the sign right there. That's one thing he likes to give money out to. I think that's nice. But look in front of a bus to the right. And look at the fantastic looking building over there. That building over there was built at the turn of the century. It was an old folks home then, and it's an old folks home now. You can tell it's an old folks home if you walk up to it because there are busts of older people all over the front of it, so you know what it is. You know, in the early days of Salzburg, not too many people could read, so they got smart. They put pictures on the outsides of stores. Here, busts of older people. And a good example is the main shopping street where Mozart's birthplace is. While you're there, look up. Wonderful handmade wrought iron signs. Some of them still have the old pictures in them, as they did in the early days. Even though they couldn't read, they were pretty smart. Now, as soon as you get a green light, you're going to get a fantastic view, because just behind us is the back of the big fortress. The fortress is called Hohen Salzburg. That means High Salt Fortress. When we drive back down the same road we're turning onto, I promise to tell you all about the fortress. Look to the right.
Nice building.
Look at this view. What do you think?
I don't know anything about that pink house.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you notice in this field on the right, little bitty house over here all by itself? No other houses around it. That was the executioner's house. Nobody liked that guy. Didn't want to live near him. Just for that, he had to take care of the vegetable gardens down here as well. Sometimes he practiced by cutting lettuce heads. What a nut. Now, if you look to the left, you see the Untersberg. Now, ladies and gentlemen, use your imaginations. Untersberg over there is about 6,000 feet high, 2,000 meters. Untersberg is about 10 kilometers away from Salzburg. Maria! ran down that mountain. She went all the way back to the city to the Abbey in about 3 minutes. This woman was an athlete. Do you remember the very last scene of this movie? The Trapp family are in their hiking clothes. They're escaping into Switzerland from on that same mountain, the Untersberg. There's only one thing wrong with that scene. The Untersberg is half in Austria, the other half is in Germany. They were going the wrong way. Switzerland's about 500 kilometers in that direction. Could you imagine poor little Gretel after all that walking? Well, now you know these are only some of the liberties Hollywood took with this movie, and that's why those few Austrians that didn't get a chance to see this movie, they had their doubts. Isn't all that just fine, though? Because we love this movie. And you might be happy to know they were able to film the beginning and closing scenes of The Sound of Music on the Untersberg, thanks in part to the cable cars when you get down it. Would you like to go? Bus 25 takes you right to the base, right up those cable cars. And behind the Untersberg is Hitler's Eagle's Nest, Berchtesgaden, Bavaria. Imagine on a clear day, Hitler could look out the window of his house and see the fortress of Salzburg out the distance. It's hard to imagine such a madman coming from such a beautiful place like Berchtesgaden. You have a chance to go there, you won't be disappointed. Anything you ever dreamed of Bavaria is right there. The wooden beams on the outsides of the homes, mountains standing around the silver. It's incredibly pretty. If a chance to go, you should do that too.
I'll take you to
well, we hope you're ready because we are not going to be stuck in this bus all day. As a matter of fact, our first stop is coming up now in just a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to leave some of your valuables in this bus, whenever we get off, feel free. Ferdinand, the bus driver, is a professional. He'll make sure you don't realize anything's gone. Of course, I'm only kidding. He'll make sure no one gets in this bus and off of it, and Ferdinand always locks it up he gets out. You think she'll be fine where they are. Please keep the seat you've got right now throughout the entire tour. Whatever you do, please do not take someone else's seat when you get back in this bus. We almost had a great big fist fight in this bus 3 weeks ago. We had to break it up by yodeling. How many of you are from the United States? I'm going to make you extremely proud. Now, you won't believe this, but it's true. Right here in Salzburg, Austria, a statue of Abraham Lincoln. He's sitting on a horse. He's reading a book. Now, 3 of these statues are made. One is in Springfield, Illinois, where it should be. The other one's somewhere in California. The one I'm going to show you was a present for this little Austrian university. The Austrians looked at that statue, they looked at themselves, they said, put it in the backyard, under the trees. Now, how can you read a book while you're riding a horse? Abraham Lincoln could do it, and that's why he was president. Just goes to show you, if you study hard enough, long enough, maybe you'll become the president too. They still could put Sarah Palin on this horse one day. She just keeps trying. Look to the left. Put here, 1963. There he is. There's a statue. That's him. There's a plaque at the bottom that says Abraham Lincoln. Isn't that nice? Now, coming up on the right, see a yellow sign, Freibad Leopold's Krone. Freibad means open bathing. Leopold's Krone, the crown of Leopold. This is a swimming area coming up on the right, can handle 5,000 swimmers. Even so, most Austrians would much rather go to the lakes region we're going to today. There are 70 glacier-fed lakes out there, crystal clear, ice cold, even on the hottest days. Look to the left in the clearing, another wonderful view of the big fortress, Hohen Salzburg, High Salt Fortress. But right now, we made it to our first stop. Ladies and gentlemen, when Ferdinand stops his bus here, that center door is going to open up. You folks around it, behind it, please get out that door. To make things easier, the rest of you, please come out the front door. Then if you follow me, I'll show you something I'm sure you'll recognize. From the greatest musical ever produced, the one we all love, The Sound of Music. Now, Ferdinand's going to try backing up here. He doesn't always do this, but he's been practicing. Let's see how he does today. Now, if you just happen to hear a great big thump, it's going to be that tree right there. Look at the bottom where we hit it before.
Castle,
It's not our tree.
Salzburg.
It's not our bus. It's only a job. Oh, he did it nice and easy. A round of applause for our bus driver, Ferdinand. He did it.
Oh, that's not enough applause.
A little more applause, a little more applause.
That's too much.
Too much. You know, Ferdinand, our bus driver's on a work program. He's got to go back to jail at 6 o'clock. He's got one of those ankle things on his shoulder, but he's a nice criminal. He just made the wrong decision.
Close this section down and restart.
Watch your things, though. There's something called
to the glass house,
relapse.
To the gazebo.
So when he stops his bus, if you will,
you are
follow
16
me, please.
going on 17.
Dr. Schön. Here we go.
Although that doesn't actually come until later, come to think of it. No, we're going to the Leopold's Krone Palace. We're very close to it. So I'll catch up with you in just 5 minutes. Stay tuned for the rest of the Sound of Music tour.